A discussion of the stock exchange begs the question of regulation. And on that note, we will now explore the role of the Securities and Exchange Commission in the overall capital market and regulatory framework to drive capital market growth in Sri Lanka. To address you on this, we are privileged to present the Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Viraj Dayaratne, President's Counsel.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen. It has been said that where opportunity does not come knocking, one should build a door. An analysis of the performance of companies across the globe in 2020, the Annus Horribilis, shows that no market has been unaffected by the pandemic. Yet, companies that had advanced technological models and those that were able to adapt quickly to the changing demands have excelled. As vaccination programs gather momentum across the globe, it's clear that the first movers in the pandemic era will be able to reap the benefits. Sri Lanka and the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka have approached the pandemic as an opportunity to bring structural and technological advancement that is ready for and able to stimulate economic growth. Recently, literature from the World Bank establishes a bidirectional causality between foreign direct investment and stock market development indicators. We have sought to exploit the symbiotic relationship between FDI and capital market development. This event provides the opportunity to showcase the timely developments carried out in Sri Lanka so that the discerning investor could seize the moment. Indeed, this virtual investor forum, the first of its kind as far as I am aware, itself is an example of creating the door, the opportunity to come knocking. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst we make every endeavor to create a robust and facilitative regulatory environment, we are conscious that it is equally important to spur innovation and create a thriving capital market. With this in mind, the SEC has played a proactive role during the past 18 months, and I would like to take this opportunity to apprise you of some of these initiatives which we are confident will help deepen our capital market. In March of last year, the onset of the COVID pandemic saw a strict lockdown being imposed, which resulted in the inability of the stock exchange of Sri Lanka to remain open for trading. Although the CSE had taken many meaningful technological initiatives in the past, such as introducing the Central Depository System, the CDS, in 1992, as well as introducing the Automated Trading System, known as the ATS, in the year 1997, we realized that we were underprepared to operate in an environment where human movement was restricted. This motivated us to bring about a digital revolution to take Sri Lanka to the next stage of growth. The SEC spearheaded the digitalization of the end-to-end operations of the market, which now ensures uninterrupted operations. The CSE mobile app that was introduced now affords investors the opportunity of opening an account online and trading immediately thereafter, and also provides a host of other benefits, including convenience, speed, and cost effectiveness. The fetters on physical movement have ultimately freed capital movement from the shackles of ancient technology. Ladies and gentlemen, we will roll out the second phase of the digitalization initiative this month, which will enable companies in Sri Lanka, Sri Lankans living abroad, as well as foreign individuals and companies to open accounts online. The CDS eConnect facility, which comes into operation, will enable account holders to view their CDS account information, request for information and reports from CDS or the brokers, make intra-account transfers, have access to online trading apps, as well as research reports of brokers, and many more facilities. eIPOs, e-wallet, chatbot, MyCSE, My Portfolio, the voice clips are some of the other features that are on offer. One of the notable developments in recent years has been the emergence of online alternative financing platforms. The SEC encourages digital innovation and promotes inclusiveness of the capital market. At present, together with the CSC, we are in the process of evaluating the introduction of crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending, which can happen seamlessly through the e-wallet. In developing regulatory framework for these platforms, ladies and gentlemen, we will be mindful of the need to balance the benefits of fostering capital formation against the risks that such operations may pose to lenders and investors. We therefore hope to have in place tailor-made and flexible regulatory scheme that will not impede new entrants from providing competition to established platforms whilst ensuring that it has enough teeth to prevent fraudulent behavior and Ponzi-like schemes in the context of P2P regulation. The SEC is in the process of introducing trading of paper gold through the over-the-counter platforms of the CSC with the aim of diversifying investment products available for potential investors. Real estate, ladies and gentlemen, has traditionally been a preferred investment option for Sri Lankans, and the launch of Real Estate Investment Trust in July of last year now provides investors a stable investment option with high dividends. These will be valuable additions to the investment portfolio and will create more liquidity and are of particular relevance, ladies and gentlemen, to Sri Lanka. Having taken account of the needs of the market, we streamline the regulatory framework to ensure a smooth listing experience for companies. The eligibility criteria, corporate governance norms, and reporting requirements have now been relaxed to encourage more companies to list. Recently, ladies and gentlemen, we were happy to see the first listing on the Empower board that was created especially for small and medium enterprises. The success this company had at its IPO and the subsequent trading augurs well for smaller businesses, and we are confident that more SMEs and startups would follow suit. We have also granted in principle approval, ladies and gentlemen, and the rules are now being prepared to pave the way for special purpose acquisition companies, or SPACs as they are known, with the objective of providing an alternative avenue for companies to get listed on the CSC. The less stringent listing requirements that will be applicable to SPACs will no doubt make the process of listing even more easier and quicker. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, the SEC and the CSC initiated the establishment of the multi-currency board, where shares of foreign companies can be listed and traded in Sri Lanka in a foreign currency approved by the central bank. This will offer foreign companies an opportunity to access diversified pool of investors. You are aware, ladies and gentlemen, that infrastructure plays an important role in boosting stability in the securities market. Whilst taking pride in stating that the CSE, the Colombo Stock Exchange, has never experienced a settlement failure, with the objective of effectively managing post-trade risks, the SEC, together with the CSC, is facilitating the implementation of a delivery versus payment mechanism at the CSC. Test runs have already been done, and we are happy to announce, ladies and gentlemen, the introduction of the DVP this month. This will be a significant milestone in the annals of the Colombo Stock Exchange. Our next goal, ladies and gentlemen, is to have a central counterparty, a CCP, and we will work towards making it a reality, and it will be a reality in the not too distant future. We appreciate that if we are to perform our task of regulation in an effective and meaningful manner, as well as be able to create confidence in the market and protect the interests of investors, our legal regime has to be revamped. We have to keep abreast with the changes that are taking place in other jurisdictions And it is also important, ladies and gentlemen, to adhere to the standards of the International Organization of Securities Commissions, the ISCO. Towards achieving this, ladies and gentlemen, the SEC has been instrumental in finalizing the new SEC Act, and I am pleased to announce that most of the steps in the legislative process have now been completed. We are hopeful that it will be presented to Parliament and enacted in the near future. Modernizing our law has been in various stages of discussion for over a decade. I believe that the long delay may be to our benefit, as we will now be able to leapfrog into modernity, having learned from the challenges faced by countries which had taken incremental steps over the years. The proposed law has many salutary provisions that will enhance efficiency, regulation, as well as enable the development of the market, and was finalized, ladies and gentlemen, after extensive consultations with stakeholders. Several enforcement options have been spelled out, and the ability to impose administrative sanctions will make sure that the enforcement action is commensurate with the wrong committed. Another noteworthy feature is the ability of the SEC in appropriate cases to institute civil proceedings seeking the imposition of a civil penalty and also recover damages from the wrongdoer. Damages so recovered, ladies and gentlemen, will be made use of to compensate the party that has suffered loss. With regard to the development of the market, ladies and gentlemen, the proposed law will enable the use of state-of-the-art infrastructure and permits the different fundraising requirements of issuers. The ability to introduce a wide range of products provide investors a choice depending on their risk-return characteristics. By providing for recognized market operators, trading in unlisted securities has been facilitated, thus providing additional trading platforms. Provision has also been made for collective investment schemes, which will be an improvement from the presently available unit trust. The proposed law also provides for derivatives such as futures and options, irrespective of the nature of the underlying asset, as well as stock borrowing and lending, short selling, etc. This will enhance, ladies and gentlemen, the liquidity levels and create a vibrant market. Long-term investment will benefit from these opportunities. The introduction of market makers will ensure continued and efficient exchange of securities between buyers and sellers. This will provide liquidity and depth to the market and would encourage the setting up of exchange-traded funds. Legislation, ladies and gentlemen, is also expected to follow soon thereafter to enable the demutualization of the Colombo Stock Exchange. The draft bill has been completed, and the only matter outstanding is the share allocation, and once that is agreed upon, the draft, ladies and gentlemen, will be finalized. Demutualization will pave the way for a nimbler stock exchange, able to respond to the dynamic environment even more efficiently with a better governance and management structure. I must acknowledge, ladies and gentlemen, the importance the government has attached to the capital market and its development. This was demonstrated first by creating a separate state ministry for capital markets and thereafter by the grant of several tax concessions. I am glad to say that the legislative support extended by the government to strengthen the role of the stock market in Sri Lanka has taken a holistic approach. The Inland Revenue Amendment Act No. 10 of 2021 that was certified on 13th May this year provides incentives for listing on the stock exchange. For instance, Section 62 of the Inland Revenue Act as amended now provides for a zero tax rate on remittances which have been retained and invested in the Colombo Stock Exchange. This incentive is available for a period of 3 years from 1st April 2021. A special reduced tax rate has been provided for gains and profits of a company that is listed before 31st December 2021. This benefit too is extended for a period of 3 years. Additional tax deductions have also been provided, ladies and gentlemen, for those who list on the Colombo Stock Exchange this year. As for REITs, the Real Estate Investment Trust, special provisions have been introduced to grant exemptions of the capital gains tax at the time of transferring a property into the REIT, at the time of the disposal of a property by the REIT, as well as in the distribution of gains to the unit holders. The government has also announced the reduction of stamp duty applicable to property transfers in respect of REITs from 4% to 0.75%. And ladies and gentlemen, we are presently awaiting the finalization of the necessary legal provisions in this regard. Even the expenditure incurred in the purchasing of shares at the Colombo Stock Exchange have been made deductible. Thus, it can be stated that a comprehensive and concerted approach has been adopted to facilitate and incentivize and to modernize and streamline investment through the stock exchange in Sri Lanka. As I stressed at the outset, ladies and gentlemen, the door has been well and truly built, and it is inevitable that opportunity will come knocking. Apart from legislative intervention at the parliamentary level, we have at the Commission level too taken steps to improve the regulatory framework. With a view of further enhancing investor protection, we are also in the process of introducing a new mechanism for the resolution of disputes between investors and broker firms. The mechanism that is being finalized will strengthen the independence and impartiality of the process as well as make it quicker. Market intermediary rules will be revised very soon in order to bring in more clarity, predictability, and consistency. In order to uplift the standards and ensure that our market intermediaries meet the benchmark of their international counterparts, guidelines containing best practices for the broker industry was prepared in consultation with the broker firms. A surveillance handbook containing guidance on the do's and the don'ts for market intermediaries and investors was also prepared and were introduced, ladies and gentlemen, by the CSC this year. Ladies and gentlemen, the SEC is committed to ensure that the market continues to remain as the preferred place to raise capital and wealth creation. Strengthening the regulatory framework, developing market infrastructure, encouraging investor engagement, providing risk management, and providing effective supervision and enforcement becomes key factors in achieving this goal. Maintaining market integrity is critical for the proper functioning of any capital market, and as the regulator, it is the most important regulatory objective of the SEC. The SEC's market surveillance function is focused on pursuing swift preventive action to minimize potential negative impact on the market. We monitor the price and volume movements of the CSE on a real-time basis, utilizing an efficient surveillance system to detect potential market abuse and to ensure that transactions take place in conformity with applicable market rules. With the increase in the number of trades, we have strengthened the surveillance functions in order to maintain a market that is fair, efficient, orderly, and transparent. We are determined to instill investor confidence in listed companies and enable investors to make informed investment decisions. Towards this, ladies and gentlemen, we review disclosures made in annual reports as well as corporate communications of listed companies on an ongoing basis. We are confident that this exercise will help ensure that any corporate misconduct will be detected, that all material information is disseminated to the market in a timely manner, and that a level playing field will be preserved. Maintaining market stability and ensuring that intermediaries remain resilient, especially during this volatile period, required greater supervision of risk associated with the market as a whole and regulated entities in particular. Through our risk-based supervisory framework, we focus on capital and other prudential requirements of market intermediaries, measures in place to protect client assets, and compliance with internal controls on a regular basis. We are mindful, ladies and gentlemen, that investor confidence is the foundation on which the capital market is built, and that sound governance is a sine qua non if it is to be made attractive to both local and foreign investors. Sound corporate governance and a clean corporate culture cannot be achieved merely through a legislative framework or a set of rules. The SEC and the stock exchange can only provide guidelines. It can only be achieved, ladies and gentlemen, through commitment and self-discipline on the part of directors and higher management of companies. Nevertheless, in furtherance of our efforts to promote good corporate governance, we are in the process of a public consultation before finalizing a comprehensive corporate governance framework that has been prepared with the participation of all stakeholders. This, we believe, will help promote good corporate governance practices through accountability, fairness, and transparency. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, Sri Lanka's stock market has performed exceptionally well during the last 12 months. The capital market has long been the linchpin of the Sri Lankan economy and has contributed almost 18% to its GDP last year. The increase in the level of investor participation reflects confidence and optimism of investors. During the next 3 days, ladies and gentlemen, you will hear in great detail with the latest statistics the potential Sri Lanka's stock market has and its benefits, as well as the reasons as to why you should invest in our market. Therefore, I will not venture to elaborate on them. The ultimate goal of a capital market is to make sure that both investors and issuers alike have confidence and the necessary environment to trade. The SEC, ladies and gentlemen, as the regulator of the capital market, will continue to assist in achieving greater growth and stability with the required reforms and guidance. Sri Lanka, we are confident, will be Asia's next growth haven, and ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to a broader and deeper participation in Sri Lanka's market. Let me conclude by wishing all of you a productive and enjoyable experience. Thank you very much.